Hey, when I came in, I heard you guys rehearsing my tune. If it's cool, let's get together and do it.
Don't be soundtrack. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're
On stage, they looked untouchable. Behind closed doors, many of them were fighting enemies far more dangerous than hypocritical rivals. Addiction didn't care how many Grammys they won. It didn't care how many records they sold. And it didn't care how powerful their voices were. From sold-out arenas to back-alley overdoses, from spiritual rebirths to tragic endings, these are the stories you were never told. Some of these artists survived and reclaimed their lives. Others paid the ultimate price. And the truth behind their fame is far more heartbreaking than the headlines ever revealed. You think you know their stories? Think again. Hit that like button, subscribe to Secrets of Black Star, and get ready to uncover the raw, unfiltered reality behind the music legends you thought had it all. Ron Isley, When Quiet Battles Test a Living Legend. For more than 60 decades, Ron Isley's voice has defined romance, cool confidence, and timeless R&B. From smooth, era-shaping classics to an unmistakable stage presence, he stood as the unshakable frontman of a musical dynasty. But behind the velvet vocals and tailored suits, Ron faced a different kind of struggle, one rarely discussed. Unlike many of his peers, Ron was never publicly linked to hard drugs. His real danger came from something subtler, an indulgence in wealth, excess, and the illusion that success made him untouchable. That illusion cracked in 2004 when he suffered a mild stroke while on tour in London, forcing him to slow down and confront his health. 2 years later, his world unraveled further. In 2006, Ron was convicted of federal tax evasion and sentenced to 37 months in prison, all while battling chronic kidney issues that required ongoing treatment behind bars. Many thought it was the end. They were wrong. Released in 2010, Ron returned with renewed focus, dropping Mr. I, a Billboard Top 20 comeback that proved his voice and his spirit were still intact. Ron Isley's story isn't about overdose or collapse. It's about quiet battles, hard consequences, and the resilience it takes to rise again. Al Green, Between Sacred Salvation and Human Struggle. Al Green's voice didn't just seduce audiences. It comforted, healed, and spiritually stirred them. With timeless classics like Let's Stay Together and Love and Happiness, he became one of the most influential soul singers of the 1970s. At the height of his fame, Green seemed unstoppable, but behind the smooth falsetto and magnetic stage presence was a man spiraling through inner conflict. Fame brought temptation, toxic relationships, and emotional chaos. In 1974, his life changed forever when his girlfriend Mary Woodson attacked him. Hours later, she took her own life. The incident shattered Green and forced deep introspection. In response, he walked away from secular music and turned to faith, becoming an ordained pastor and founding the Full Gospel Tabernacle in Memphis. Yet, spirituality did not erase his humanity. Reports over the years suggest lingering emotional volatility and private struggles with substance use. Al Green's story is one of duality, sacred and secular, healing and pain. His life proves transformation is possible, but the fight between spirit and flesh never truly ends. Charlie Wilson, From Arenas to Alleys, Then Back Again. Charlie Wilson was once the heartbeat of funk. As the lead voice of the Gap Band, he powered anthems like Outstanding and You Dropped a Bomb on Me, influencing generations of R&B and hip-hop artists. But while the world saw success, Charlie was quietly losing everything. Over time, addiction to cocaine and alcohol took control. His career collapsed, his money disappeared, and at his lowest point, Charlie Wilson was Hollywood. As he later admitted, he went from arenas to alleys. His turning point came through rehabilitation, where he met a nurse named Maheen, who later became his wife. She didn't just help him get sober, she helped him rebuild his life. Clean and focused, Charlie returned with powerful solo albums like Uncle Charlie, earning Grammy nominations and renewed respect. Today, Charlie Wilson speaks openly about addiction and recovery. His journey stands as living proof that even the deepest collapse can lead to the strongest comeback. Ray, trapped by the industry, saved by her voice. Ray represents a new generation of R&B talent, crushed early by the music industry machine. Blessed with a powerful voice and sharp songwriting, she delivered hit songs while still being denied the right to release her own album. Locked into a restrictive record deal for more than 7 years, she watched her creativity suffocate. The pressure took its toll. Anxiety and depression set in, followed by drug dependence. Ray turned to cocaine, marijuana, and codeine, numbing herself just to survive. Behind the smile was a young artist who no longer recognized who she had become. In 2021, she made a bold move, cutting ties with her label and reclaiming control. The result was My 21st Century Blues, a raw, independent debut that laid bare her pain, addiction, and fiercely honest, Ray emerged not as a victim, but a survivor. Her story exposes a modern truth. Today's artists don't just battle drugs, they battle systems that break them before they ever get a chance to heal. Nivea, motherhood, fame, and a late descent into addiction. Nivea entered the R&B scene in the early 2000s with a soft voice, girl-next-door image, and undeniable promise. Hits like Don't Mess With My Man and Laundromat positioned her as a rising star. But behind the success, her personal life was unraveling under pressure. Balancing fame, turbulent relationships, and motherhood proved overwhelming. After finishing breastfeeding her youngest child around 2010, Nivea began experimenting with marijuana, a choice she later admitted spiraled quickly into cocaine use. "I did everything," she confessed. "Once I started, I couldn't stop." Addiction quietly invaded her relationships, judgment, and career. The industry's fast pace offered little room for vulnerability, and she found herself trapped in destructive cycles. What ultimately saved her was motherhood. Seeing the emotional toll on her children forced her to confront her addiction head-on. Nivea entered rehab and chose to step away from toxic environments. Today, she speaks openly about recovery, urging young women in music to protect their mental and emotional health. Her story proves addiction doesn't discriminate, but healing is possible. Chris Brown, talent, trauma, and a dangerous spiral. Chris Brown's rise was explosive. By his mid-teens, he was a global superstar with chart-topping hits, elite dance skills, and comparisons to pop royalty. But fame arrived faster than emotional maturity. And when his image shattered after the 2009 incident involving Rihanna, everything changed. Instead of healing, Chris spiraled. He turned to drugs as escape: lean, codeine, cocaine, ecstasy, and Xanax. He later admitted waking up and using cocaine immediately. His behavior grew erratic. Arrests, violent outbursts, rehab stints, and public meltdowns followed. Physically, the signs were impossible to ignore: rapid weight loss, hollow eyes, and inconsistent performances. Yet even at his lowest, his musical output never stopped. Albums went platinum, collaborations kept coming. This duality, creative brilliance alongside self-destruction, made his story deeply troubling. Chris Brown's journey highlights a harsh truth: talent does not protect against addiction. Without addressing trauma at its root, even the brightest stars can burn themselves out from the inside. Bobby Brown, fame, addiction, and a family destroyed. Bobby Brown's career was built on raw energy and rebellion. As a member of New Edition and later a solo superstar, he dominated late 80s R&B with hits like My Prerogative and Every Little Step. But behind the swagger was a young man slipping into addiction. Early drug use began with alcohol and marijuana, but escalated dramatically after his marriage to Whitney Houston in 1992. Bobby later admitted that cocaine became part of his life during that period. Their relationship, marked by volatility and substance abuse, played out publicly through arrests, breakdowns, and tabloid chaos. Addiction followed Bobby everywhere. DUIs, jail time, and self-sabotage. His reality show, Being Bobby Brown, exposed the dysfunction in painful detail. The ultimate cost came through loss. Whitney's death in 2012, followed by their daughter Bobby Christina's death in 2015, cemented addiction's devastating legacy. In recent years, Bobby has pursued recovery and reflection, founding the Bobby Christina Serenity House. His story is a haunting reminder that fame doesn't just magnify success, it magnifies demons too. Jackie Wilson, When Grief Silenced Mr. Excitement. Jackie Wilson was pure electricity. Known as Mr. Excitement, his soaring tenor and explosive stage moves helped bridge doo-wop and soul, inspiring legends from Michael Jackson to Elvis Presley. Songs like Lonely Teardrops and Higher made him unstoppable, until tragedy struck. In 1970, Wilson's world collapsed when his 16-year-old son was shot and killed. Crushed by grief, Jackie turned to heroin and alcohol. Friends noticed a dramatic change. He missed shows, his finances crumbled, and the joy that once fueled his performances disappeared. The final blow came in 1975, when Wilson collapsed on stage during a benefit concert, suffering a massive heart attack that left him with severe brain damage. He spent nearly 9 years in a semi-vegetative state before dying in 1984 at just 49 years old. Despite his influence, Jackie Wilson died largely forgotten, even buried in an unmarked grave for years. His story is a devastating reminder that the industry often celebrates the gift and abandons the man when the music stops. Gerald Levert, Prescription Pain That Turned Deadly. Gerald Levert had one of the most powerful and emotional voices in modern R&B. As the son of Eddie Levert of the OJs and the frontman of the group Levert, he built a massive career with hits like Casanova and I'd Give Anything. But his battle wasn't with street drugs, it was with legally prescribed medication. Plagued by chronic pain and insomnia from relentless touring, Gerald relied heavily on prescription opioids, including Vicodin, Percocet, and Darvocet. What began as treatment slowly became dependency. Though he kept performing and recording, those closest to him knew the pressure was overwhelming. On November 10, 2006, Gerald Levert died in his sleep at just 40 years old. The coroner ruled his death an accidental overdose caused by a toxic mix of prescription drugs. The news devastated the music world and shattered his father. Gerald's death exposed a silent danger: prescription addiction. His story proves that addiction doesn't always look chaotic. Sometimes it hides behind professionalism, success, and a quiet smile. Teena Marie, The Ivory Queen and a Silent Addiction. Teena Marie broke barriers few dared to cross. Dubbed the Ivory Queen of Soul, her powerhouse voice and creative control made her a rare force in R&B. Hits like Square Biz and Lover Girl cemented her legacy, while her independence inspired generations. But behind her strength was a private struggle. In the mid-2000s, Teena suffered a serious stage accident that left her with lasting nerve pain. Doctors prescribed Vicodin to manage it, and slowly dependency took hold. She later admitted she had a problem with prescription drugs, even as she kept her struggle hidden from the public. Unlike many addiction stories, Teena's battle was quiet. No public meltdowns, no arrests, just an internal war fought in silence. She eventually got clean and returned to music with renewed passion. In 2010, Teena Marie died in her sleep at age 54 following a seizure. Her story reminds us that addiction doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, even inside the strongest voices in soul music. These 10 R&B legends lit up the world with their voices, but behind the applause were battles few ever saw. Some fell to addiction and paid the ultimate price. Others hit rock bottom, fought back, and rose again. Different paths, same truth. Addiction doesn't care about fame, talent, or legacy. Their stories remind us that behind every hit song is a human being, vulnerable, pressured, and often unsupported. Success can magnify pain just as easily as it amplifies joy, and silence, whether personal or systemic, can be just as deadly as the drugs themselves. So the real question is this: should the music industry do more to protect artists battling addiction and mental health struggles, or does responsibility ultimately fall on the individual? There's no simple answer, but the conversation matters. If these stories moved you, challenged you, or made you think differently, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Secrets of Black Star for more untold truths behind the music you thought you knew.